Today we're going to be solving linear equations with variables on both sides. So here we take the problem 2x plus 7 equals 3x plus 4. Our goal is still the same. It's to get x by itself. Now the first step is to actually get the variable, or x, on the same side of the equation. So right now we have 2x's on this side and we have 3x's on the other. Generally speaking, we like to work with positive numbers, so generally it's a good idea to go ahead and create a zero pair with the smaller set of x's. So in this case, 2 is smaller than 3, so we'll go ahead and create a zero pair with 2 x's. To create a zero pair with 2 positive x's, we would need to subtract 2 x's. And whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So when we subtract 2 x's from 2 x's, we'll get 0 x's on this side, dropping down a positive 7. 3 x's minus 2 x's gives us 1 x, and then we'll drop down a positive 4. Now our last step to get x by itself is to create another zero pair with our constant of a positive 4 or a plus 4. To do that, we'll use the additive inverse, and we will subtract 4 from both sides. 4 minus 4 gives us a 0 or a zero pair. Then a 7 minus 4 will give us a 3. So 3 will be equal to x. Here we'll take another example with an equation with variables on both sides. So here we have a 3x on the left side and we have 1x on the right side. And again, usually we would like to work with positive coefficients, so we want to go ahead and create a zero pair with the smaller coefficient. 1 is smaller than 3, so we're going to go ahead and create a zero pair with this 1x. So to make a 1x go away or become 0, we would need to subtract x, and whatever we do to one side, we'll have to do to the other. So over here, if we have 3x's minus an x, we'll get 2x's. We'll drop down a plus 3, bring down our equal sign, and an x minus an x gives us a zero pair, so we're just going to bring down our minus 5 or our negative 5. Now that we have the x's on one side of the variable, we can continue. And we'll go ahead by creating zero pairs when possible. So if we look on the side that has the x, in order to get x by itself, the only zero pair we can create on this side is right here with this plus 3 or this positive 3. To get a positive 3 to turn into a 0, we do the opposite, which would be adding a negative 3. Or you can look at this as adding 3, so the opposite would be subtracting 3. And whatever we do to one side, we must do to the other side. So we're going to create a zero pair using the additive inverse. So 3 minus 3 gives us a 0, and a negative 5 and 3 more negatives is actually going to give us a negative 8. Our last step to get x by itself, we see that multiplication is taking place here. So in other words, x is being multiplied by 2, so we need to do the opposite operation, which means we need to divide by 2. And whatever we do to one side, we need to do to the other. By doing so, we convert this into a 1, giving us 1x, and a negative 8 divided by a positive 2 is a negative 4. X equals negative 4 is our final answer.